All right, in fact, let's start there in an exclusive interview. The cousin of former Orlando Pirates and Bafana captain Senzo Meyiwa says they're still pinning their hopes that justice will one day prevail. Nomalanga Meyiwa was speaking to me just a couple of hours ago. In fact, that was a recording which had been done with her, as today marks 10 years since the soccer star was killed. You'd know that 5 men are currently on trial for the murder, which has been marred by multiple delays. So just this week, as the state had called its last witness lead investigator, Brigadier Bongani Gininda, the trial was met with another setback as one of the defense lawyers fell ill. Here's the interview with the Meyiwa family.
Sis Nomalanga, this marks 10 years since the passing of Senzo Meyiwa. This must have been an incredibly difficult journey for you as a family.
Yeah, it's been a long journey from 2014 until manje, 10 years.
She says it's been a long journey. 10 years is a reminder that he is no longer with them.
We lost someone supportive with him.
He was someone who was supportive and loved his family. And even though he is no longer with them, it is also a celebration because he was a national asset. She says they were proud of him.
Six celebrator, Oguti, obey a national asset, and he also falls.
And in as much as he was a national asset and played for big teams, they are still in mourning.
So kuthina kusenza nje sibe nalokho ukuziqhenya, as much as on the other side
they are still hurt because they still don't know what happened to Senzo Meyiwa on the day that he was killed.
Ukuza kuthina as a family ukuze siphole nathi sazi ukuthi kahle kahle kwenzakalani on the day uSenzo abulawa ngalo.
There are so many reflections that are being made during this time about the life of Senzo Meyiwa. How are you as a family remembering him after this decade?
Ukumkhumbula thina nje umndeni kuhlezi kuyintokozo ngoba umuntu ohambe kahle phambi kwethu, kumuntu osithandile, kumuntu osihloniphile.
She says to remember Senzo is always joyful. She says he was a good person who respected others. Every time they speak about him, they remember the good that he did.
So nje even though ke kubuye kube nalokho, because kunekhala whereby sazi ukuthi if ukube bekhona, we know ukuthi ngabe kunezinto eziningi esezenzakalile emndenini, but ke
she says he left a void. Nobody argued with Nzori, she says. People always laughed when he was around.
I don't think nokuthi ukhona umuntu ongaphuma athi mina ngaye ngaxabana noNzori. uNzori beumuntu wabantu everywhere life yakhona uNzori bekuhleko futhi ubenza sure ukuthi ufuna ukushiya abantu bejabule behleka ngaso sonke isikhathi.
In this 10 years, your family was basically dealt with a double tragedy because you lost Senzo Meyiwa, and also after that his dad, Uncle Sam, also passed away. So it's been a very painful 10 years for you as a family. How have you had to cope with that kind of loss?
Ngicabanga ukuthi if ngingangena nje kakhulu kule yokudlula kukamkhulu uBaba Sam iyona into engathi ke kwaba buhlungu kakhulu kuthina as a family because simbonile elwa efuna ubulungiswa.
She says the loss of Senzo's father was very painful. She says the loss of Senzo's father was a double blow. She says they saw him fight for justice. He was never a sickly person, she says. And when Senzo passed away, she saw that he wanted justice, and that's when his father got ill.
Waqala wakhandleka wagula njengoba ngitshela nje ukuthi ne-stroke samshaya nje kade right nje kuyona ukuthi uyacabanga kakhulu bewumuntu ke ofuna ngathi izinto zingenzeka ngendlela e-right. So
she says the stroke that he suffered caught them by surprise because he was not a sickly person. She says Senzo's father knocked on many doors for justice. Senzo's father, she says, passed away seeking for justice. He cried for justice for his son, she says. But she says they believed in God then, and they still do now.
Now we are lost to Baba, nakhona futhi sibuyela back ekuthenini kunjenje it's because of ubekhalile ubulungisa bentwana yakhe. But again, even though ke sekwenzekile konke lokho ena sabantu ekhaya abakholwayo kakhulu, even in this time siyamkholwa uNkulunkulu ukuthi ekwazile ukusithwala ngo2014 kulesa simo sasinzima kakhulu until kwafika u2019 nakhona futhi saphinde sashayeka until today as celebrate our 10 years.
She says that as they celebrate 10 years, what they know is that Senzo worked hard and he loved his family.
Usebenzile, uSenzo uzinikelile, uSenzo uthandile umsebenzi wakhe, wasithanda nathi as a family.
Sis Nomalanga, you've also sat through the proceedings. You've traveled a number of times to the High Court in Pretoria, listening to the evidence that is being brought before court. Do you believe that justice is being served in this matter?
Noma ngeke ngize ngibe sure of that. But ke selokhu sabanethemba lokuthi as icala selisenkantolo lithe.
She says she cannot be sure if justice is being served now. It's too soon to tell, she says, but she trusts those that have been entrusted with doing their jobs. She says that there is still hope that they will get answers.
The family has always had the belief that those that were inside the house when Senzo Meyiwa was killed need to come before court and say what happened on that day. Is that a belief that you as the family still hold 10 years later?
Sisenalo lelo themba lokuthi ibone kufanele basitshele ukuthi kwenzakalani.
She says they still have hope that those that were inside the house will tell what happened on that day. She says, of course, the others that were inside that house did go before court. She says she does not want to speak much about the case because it's still ongoing, but they will wait for it to complete.
Family, because sikholelwa ukuthi njengoba lisaqhubeka so kuzofanele silinde sizwe ukuthi bonke abantu ababizwayo bazofike bathini.
Yeah. Just before we conclude, Sis Nomalanga, as AfriForum is also representing the family, it has always been the view that there is a mastermind in this matter. There is a mastermind that still needs to be brought before court. As you mark this 10 years, do you still feel that way? That there is a mastermind that needs to answer for this?
Ngiyakholelwa ukuthi kukhona konke lokho size sifike to that mastermind kuyosilidela ekuthenini siqhubeke silalela ama-proceedings ase-court.
She says she believes that the court proceedings will lead them on the issue of the mastermind. She says she cannot say much, but the issue of the mastermind came up because they wanted to know where all this started. They wanted to know what happened and also who was behind all this.
And even if kuhamba isikhathi, but thina we still believe ukuthi kumele sazi ukuthi kwenzakalani. So we still believe ukuthi njengoba icala lise-court sizolinda until liqulwe liqedwe mhlambe seselithola iqiniso ukuthi kahle kahle yini eyenzeka ukuze nathi sikwazi ukuphola.
Well, 10 years on, Senzo Meyiwa's family still wanting justice, saying that the current proceedings, they hope the current murder trial, which is sitting at the High Court in Pretoria, will unearth who was the alleged mastermind in the killing of Senzo Meyiwa. And of course, we have been saying today, marking the 10th anniversary of that fatal shooting of that legend, of course. And we're going to move to our next story at the moment. And today marking, of course, the 10th anniversary, as I indicated, of the fatal shooting of the former legendary goalkeeper Senzo Meyiwa. He was killed, of course, as we've been saying, at his then-girlfriend's home, Kelly Khumalo. That was in Vosloorus in Ekurhuleni on this day back in 2014.